What is up, everyone? Circumflex here, bringing you guys another review. Today, we're going to take a look at something that's really, really weird, and most of you probably don't have. It's the 59 pattern, not the Type 59. No siree. It is the Chinese premium medium tank at tier 8, just like the Type 59, but it really is not the Type 59. So let's just take a look at let's take a look at the post game stats in the first minute of the review, PogChamp. Anyway, let's take a look at the base stats here. We have 2000 DPM, 240 alpha, 212 base spin with AP that is fairly fast, 914. It has the ye olde Chinese heat at 250 pen. And it actually is really, really fast. 1219 velocity is a really fast heat shell, which is a bit of an oddity, right? Decent aiming time, 2.2, really pretty decent dispersion as well as 35. 50 top speed, power to weight is like, it's okay, 14. Then it has 9 degrees of gun depression, which is really odd on a Chinese tank. And that's because it basically has an American turret, the patton turret. One might say that the name kind of gives it away. This tank actually never existed, and it's a Type 59 hull with a patton turret. So yeah, what do you get then? You get somewhat hull armor at 100, 80 side armor, which is decent for a medium. And the turret armor is 177.8, which is like a really weird one. But let's just take a look at the 3D model here. What kind of armor do we actually have? We basically have fuck all. Alright, there's almost nothing here. Like, sure, the gun medlet is actually viable, but you might notice a slight problem. That is the giant Kumanus cupola. That's way too big, dude. Oh my god, there's 90 armor. Like, everyone can pen this. And guess what? Once you use your gun depression of 9, you still are going to show this gigantic cupola first before you can actually shoot your gun. There's some significant distance between the gun and your cupola, which basically makes the one trick that this odd Chinese American tank has, the gun depression, pretty much irrelevant, because every time you try and use it, people will shoot your turret or even just your regular tank, like your regular tank turret off or your kinetic ball. Like, you just get shot to pieces before you can shoot back. And when we only have a lousy 240 damage that most of the tier 8 mediums have, that doesn't really make for a good combo now, does it? And the hull armor is pretty okay, right? It's 175-ish. So, it's okay against like tier 6 and some tier 7 side scraping wise and stuff. It's okay. It's not that great, but it's okay. So, these are the base stats that you're going to be looking for. 1400 health as well. Fuel range, though, is a really nice thing here. 400 base, which is really, really nice. And that's about the only thing that's really, really nice about this thing. Except maybe the high pen heat is your thing as well. I personally despise 250 millimeters pen heat at tier 8. It never really works for me. You might have a personal, you might have a different experience, right? But 250 heat pen, it's just, for me, it just almost never works. It's just such an odd pen level, and it's a big oof. All right, that's what it is. So fully fully buffed, and kitted out with optics, a rammer, and some first steps, and even some food. And we took all the crew skills here as well, just to showcase how beefed up it can be. You're still looking at less than 2400 DPM, 2-second aiming time, basically 0.32 dispersion, which is nice. It goes 50, but the power weight is still not really good. For tank traverse is just fine. It's 53, and we have a massive 400 and basically 92 view range. Now, the one thing that is nice, just to just to really be like, try to be as positive as humanly possible, is that this cupola is also your viewport. So if you're actually peeking, you should, and you try to not shoot anything, like literally just make this appear, you can actually do some pretty effective spotting in some odd way, because you have such sick view range that you only need to show basically a little tumor on top. So if your thing is to spot with medium tank, it's just like a whole weird configuration. Like, it's really not really gonna happen. But I know someone in the YouTube comment section is gonna be like, "Yo, but what if you use the commander cupola just to spot, dude? You only have to show this, and then you can spot, dude. That's really good, dude." Like, yeah, that almost never fucking happens, okay? And who doesn't want to shoot the enemy in the face, right? How boring are we? Anyway, a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, but what about the Type 59 then?" And yeah, let's compare it to the Type 59. Why not, shall we? We have less DPM, we have less base spin, but we actually have 10 less damage. But the big thing here is that the patton has a 90 mil gun, where the Type 59 has a 100 mil gun. Now, this is actually a pretty big deal in terms of overmatching for like the Swedish tanks, for example. You can overmatch the S1 tank, which you're bound to see some of those at tier 8, like the S1 tank. You can overmatch it with a Type 59, which is actually really, really nice. And you can also overmatch some more side armor of more tanks. So that's actually a pretty big deal. Shell velocity is, like, it doesn't really matter much. And it does a little bit more module damage because it is a bigger shot, right? And DPM-wise, sure, it is a little bit lower, about 140, right? It's not a really big deal, though. The aiming time is worse. The Type 59 got buffed in the latest patch, which is 1.2. But it also got buffed like half a year to a year ago. It got buffed as well, so it was already pretty good, and now it got buffed again. And even in turret reverse, it gets better. And whilst moving and whilst moving the tank itself, or the tank reverse, the gun handling is actually the same. But again, you have a 100 mil gun, which is nice, and you have a little bit more alpha, well, like literally 10, but it's nice. Then you have a bit more elevation, and gun depression wise, obviously we cannot cope with the basically American levels of 9 degrees of gun depression. We only get 7. But the Type 59 is faster with a lot better power to weight and better turret traverse and similar traverse and everything else. And it has really sick turret armor, 230 armor, and it has less view range. It's 380, but 380 is workable, as we all know by now. 380 is kind of like the point where the view range is good. 370 is awkward, 380 is good in terms of getting to 445 view range. So, what have we got then? Like, the Type 59 is infinitely better, and it has limited matchmaking, so it doesn't see tier 10, and the patton sees tier 10. Well, even though in almost every respect ever where it matters and how it plays, the Type 59 is so much better, and the patton doesn't get a buff, and the patton sees tier 10 tanks. This is literally like no bueno. This is just not good. This thing also gets APCR with 241 pen. And APCR is so much more flexible than heat. It's actually crazy. So, yeah, it's so not worth the purchase. If you have a Type 59, don't ever buy a patton. But guess what? You don't have a Type 59. Don't ever buy a 59 patton, please. It is actually horrendous. And speaking of horrendous, let's take a look at the replay, shall we? Oh my god. So, we're in 59 patton. As you can see as well, I'm blue, by the way. Oh my god, I turned blue. I shot a TD friend of my team in the tracks, and I turned blue, boys. Sad panda, and it even translates into replays, which I found out today. So yeah, we are blue. We are in the world's shittiest matchmaking ever, which is 357, where we are bottom tier in a tier 8. Luckily, though, there is no artillery. Thank the Lord. Because they're all seal clubbing in their M44s with the excuse that they're doing missions. Anyway. So, we are in Overlord. Overlord is actually a pretty decent map for us, because there's a lot of, like, little hills everywhere, so we can use our 9 degrees of gun depression. Our loadout, as you can see, is pretty try-hard with, like, large first aid, large repair kit, because I really just wanted to play a couple of games in this tank, and then never ever play it again in my life. So I was going a little bit try-hard here. I do have a gun mark. What the hell? Anyway. I really haven't played this tank much, but we do have a gun mark. Shows you how poorly people are playing it if I can get a first gun mark in like 20 games or something. Regardless, we're going to try our best to help the team here as we are bottom tier. So we're just going to try and work the wrist line here a little bit. Work with the Conqueror. I like climbing up here because the bushes here seem to work, but they don't really work on this side. So yeah, can we get a shot off anywhere? We do get spotted right away by probably the Centurion there. So we back off, we don't get shot. And this is just, well, this is tier 8 benchmaking in a nutshell. If you're playing not a really viable tank, it's just you're kind of just awkwardly moving around the place, not really doing much of anything. So that's basically, it's a really good game to showcase also just regular tier 8 matchmaking at the moment. And when you're playing a mediocre tank anyway. If I was playing a Lorraine or something, I probably could have done something at the very least. Speaking of Lorraines though, the enemy Lorraine is here, so I'm hiding a little bit. And he actually shoots us in the gun medlet there. So we actually bounced the Lorraine, and we bounced him again. What is happening? Let's take a look at the turret as you finally pin him. But yeah, he hits our gun medlet and our gun medlet, which is the only part of the tank that has any armor. So we got a little bit lucky there because we already could have lost 600 health out of our 1400, but we do bounce, which is rather nice. We have one damaging shot so far, so epic amounts of damage done. And the rest of the team is doing their thing. We're actually kind of pushing on the 9 line. So I'm gonna go in here, trying to maybe go to the pocket eventually and shoot them in the sides or something. It'd be annoying with our gun depression. So trying to get some shots in this Lorraine. You always have to be careful of TDs here, by the way. But we know that there's 2 Scorpions here, and the T-28 probably A9 or so. So it's kind of a little bit of a safer peek because we know that the TDs are probably preoccupied, and the Type 5 is also peeking and not getting shot. So the 705 shows up, the tier 10 Polish Tinkerinos. He shoots, so we're gonna move in. We load the heat as well. Because if I get a lower plate shot, I do need the heat, but I kind of try and go for the tracks. We hit the lower plate and just completely bounce because it was pretty well angled there. Then hopefully we don't get shot in the face. The Type 5 shoots the 705A. Yeah, shoots as well. I still try and track him. We spotted, oh, we don't spot, but the T-28 gets spotted there. Trying to have some long range shots. Like, I'm just praying that by shooting for centered mass, it will either hit the roof or the lower plate there. So again, trying to go for lower plate, still don't hit it. Like, you'd think about having a patton turret that we're gonna be good at snapshotting, but phew, that really isn't. Luckily, the T-28 is not shooting us, and 705A gets some really well-balanced HE shells to the face for almost 600. And now the T-28 is like, okay, I got you, fam. And he shoots in the face with some APCR that he probably loaded for the Type 5, right? So I'm like, okay, I can't really do anything. I can't even track a 705A. I'm gonna get shot in the face by the T-28. I need to relocate by now. And again, like 4 minutes have passed. We have done nothing. Like we can't even track someone because of low alpha and our horrible snapshotting capabilities. Luckily, the Lorraine has pity and he gives us a really nice shot. He tries to go for the scout. He tries to clip the scout, but he doesn't realize I came back here, so the scout got lucky, Lorraine got unlucky, and then we bounce our heat shell, which is the 250 pen, off the back of a tier 10 heavy here, the 705A. Pretty unlucky. I think I could have penned it, but he just angled just enough, I guess. It was just a bit unlucky on our side. So I'm still trying to find a good position on this map. Almost 5 minutes in. 430 comes in, we hit him in the front of the 250 pen, which should be good enough for 430, and we actually set him on fire as well, granting us finally more than 1,000 damage. And you know, we're pretty hyped at this point, right? My god, does this tank look good, doesn't it? So yeah, we're trying to go finally into the position I wanted to go in earlier, but I'm still keeping an eye on the 705 because he's actually going backwards towards us. We could pen it, but we have to be really careful. We don't want to get shot by the Centurion. 430 is still lurking. And the Conqueror and the Lover are on the 9 line. I'm trying to get like a shot to the Centurion or something, but again, peeking with this gigantic turret, with this gigantic cupola, is probably about the most awkward thing you could do. And I'm also really worried that the D28 is going to shoot us, because he is not in view range, but he is within render range. So at some point here, I'm just deciding, maybe I should just go for it, okay? Because I can take the Centurion hit, I can even take the 430 hit. So hopefully we can make something work here. And I kind of want to just keep him proxied and stuff to make, just basically trying to help the team a little bit, whilst trying to find an angle for me to possibly do some damage in, as we almost hit the 9-minute mark here. So still looking, the scout is on the other side. W said the Brigetto is probably still there, and they have a mouse on the beach. 705A is still alive with the backup of the D28. So yeah, Type 5 goes in. Another really well-balanced HE shells finishes off the Polish tank, even though he angles probably like a boss. And we're just like, you know what? I've had it, boys. And I try to go in, exposing almost my entire tank to do it. And he just dies to the scout tank. And now it's just the 430 left. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I would like to not play this tank and get off this map. So I think I'm just going to go for the 430, trade shots, and let my team do the finishing touches to the 430, let's say. Because I can obviously take that one hit and take cover behind a building or so. So I'm actually going backwards a little bit to get a bit more speed as you know, I'm trying to go over the hill. I'm taking a look at my teammates, saying like, oh, if they actually come here, I can just go for the 430, and hopefully they'll just follow suit, basically. So I'm getting outside of proxy range at the 430, so I can kind of like YOLO in without getting shot right away. So I'm just gonna go in. 430 gets spotted there. I'm like, all right, this is my one chance. He even gets shots by the scout there. I go in. Horrendous miss there. So this is awkward. We didn't do the damage we needed, so now he's a 2-shot. We hit him once though. He sets us almost on fire. The gas tanks are fairly awful in this tank as well. The T-28 still has a shot where I thought I was safe, and then the Progetto thankfully misses. And I take cover from both the T-28 and the Progetto as I try to find my bearings to not die, basically. And we now know that the mouse is coming back or so, because the Scorpion and the Convoy are on the beach. So I'm just waiting for the team to move up a little bit, or for the Progetto to get spotted again, so I have some shots maybe. So the scout goes in, he has more than enough health to do so. And you can see that the aiming time in this whole gun is just a drudgery. It's just not... it's just pretty damn bad, alright? And again, just to reiterate, the Type 59 is infinitely better and has limited matchmaking. And I'm not quite sure what this tank is doing at tier 10 at the moment. Could definitely use a bufferinos in the gun department. I don't even want like more armor and stuff, because it already has like really good free range memes going on. Like I would be more than okay with just having an actual nice gun. I don't like an STA 1 or something, right? STA 1 and 2, I feel like those had a lot better matchmaking. So here, knowing that my gun is basically shite, I still aim for the roof of a T-28, and we do kill him after tracking him. And a mouse is here, and I'm like, alright, I can't do anything. Gonna go for the tracking shot. Apparently it was already yellow, because there's no way this gun can track a mouse with one shot. Track him again, he starts looking at us. And once he starts looking away, I'm gonna move forward again. Oh, he's halfway and move back again. Track again, and this is basically the life of a 59 patton in 2018, where you just have to track mouses and hope for the best. And then we get a really lucky pen there. I even believe, as you can see with my pen marker right now, is that that's a yellow pen with heat into the side of an unangled mouse turret. So that's really good. And then now we're gonna aim for the hull, which is perfectly square on. But another well-balanced HE shell of the Type 5 kills the mouse for us. So even our blue patton wins the game here. We go up a little bit of gun marks and everything. And we do 2300 assistance and 1900 damage in a 9-minute game at +2 on Overlord, no artillery. So if you needed any indication about how amazing this tank is, there you go. This is basically the best way to play it. It's literally full support. Spotting and tracking is the best thing you can do, and you're not allowed to do any damage. So that's what it feels like anyway. And even when you're top tier in this tank, like, it's okay, but there is so many better choices. And if you really need a Chinese medium premium tank, like, I think I'm gonna say it. I think even the T-44 is probably a better choice. Probably, because you have limited matchmaking and at least somewhat of a reliable turret. And I think most people will find that more enjoyable than playing this thing. There's no way I can recommend this. There is absolutely no way I can recommend this if you have a Type 59, by the way. What an absolute joke that they buffed that thing even further whilst it was already good. And leaving this thing to just be in the dust. And they can't even use the ye olde excuse that they sometimes use whenever it's convenient. Where they can say, well, historically it had... No. You made this tank up so we can make the stats up, so we can just, we can just use it, boys. So I hope they buff this tank in the future. This was patch 1.2 where I reviewed this tank. So if you're watching this somewhere in the future, it might be buffed. I hope it is. Because it is kind of like a quirky little tank. I kind of like how it looks because it is so Frankenstein. But yeah, anyway, team scored almost 1300 basic speed. We got the Fire for Effect Bruiser and Duelist medallions. And nothing really else. And detailed report, it's Halloween and we have a booster, so we get double the monies. And then we made 82k. So running no booster and no event, we would have made 89k. And we would have lost 89k to just ammo and consumables. And we would have lost money repairing our vehicle and going back to the garage, wondering why the fuck there's a Patton 59 in it. So yeah, cannot really recommend the tank. I cannot. But I hope the review was nonetheless enjoyable. Hopefully you got a good chuckle or even a laugh out of it. If you enjoyed the review, maybe check out some other reviews. I've been doing a lot of the tier A premium reviews lately, just to inform the consumer on what to buy and what not to buy. But this is definitely a no buy from me. Anyway, let me know what you think about the Patton 59 in the comment section below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.